JTW's Reactions. In this video, I'm going to react to Mr. Billy Carson as he talks about the alternate view on humanity's origins as told in the Emerald Tablets by Thoth, the Atlantean king, as well as from other ancient texts. This interview was held on the Amrit Sandhu podcast, where he speaks on several subjects, but this part is about the Garden of Eden and the origin of modern-day human beings. I'll leave the link to the original video in the description. And while you're there, check out the other videos on the channel as well.
I came across somewhere in your work that Adam and Eve potentially weren't alone in the garden. And I found that extremely fascinating because I think, I think this is a really important conversation. Can you elaborate on that? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Unfortunately, the dogma that has been passed down for so many generations, the fact that they're thinking that two people created 8 billion people on Earth right now is where we're at, about 8 billion, 100 million or some crazy number, right? That's a crazy number we're at. But the fact is, two people can't create 8 billion people. Because why? Not enough genetic diversity. And whoever doesn't believe that, I want you to go and start mating with your sister and have a baby, and then have that baby, and you have two babies, and have those babies grow up a little bit and mate with each other, and see what happens by the second or third generation. Club feet, mental disabilities, blindness, all these things happen. Why? No genetic diversity. This is why people who like breed dogs and everything, they understand they have to have a genetic pool to pull from to create these breeds of dogs and everything else. Same thing with human beings. You have to have a genetic diversity. So when you look at these tablets, you begin to realize something else really happened. First of all, Isis was trying to create the Adamu. That means first man, right? Isis.
And for those of you that did not get that correlation, Adamu, first man, that's Adam, which in the Bible says that he was the first man that was created by God.
Now, what's crazy is they're trying to do this, and they're having some trouble mating these clones. And the instructions for the cloning are in the hieroglyphs in Egypt, right? So you go there to Egypt, and all of a sudden you see these hieroglyphs, and they lay out the exact cloning technique to make people, actual people like you and I. And we take people there every year to show them these incredible hieroglyphs. But the problem that they had was these clones in the tablets, they weren't able to reproduce. If you take a lion and a tiger, you get a ligon, right? Or a Tygon. You can do them both ways, but neither one of those outcomes can actually have, be fertile. One can't get pregnant, another, it can't make anything pregnant, right? If it's a man or a woman, a female or a male, I'm sorry. So the problem that you have there is they can't really mate, just like, a donkey and a horse will create a mule, but the mule is sterile. Same situation. So they said, Dan, what are we going to do? So she said, I have an idea. I'm going to take the egg from one of the beings and put it in my womb and take it to term. So they take one of the hominids, they take a female, they take the egg out, they add their essence to it. This is some type of a genetic modification, or adding the sperm or whatever they did, kind of like in modern terms, making a zygote in modern terms in a laboratory to insert into a woman's womb, in vitro fertilization. She puts it in her womb, she takes it to term for 10 months, not 9. And in 10 months, she gives birth to the Adamu. That means first man. And there's a cylinder seal in the British Museum with her holding the baby up, saying, my hands have created it. This begins the generations of Isis, the generations of Isis, the Genesis, the Genesis, the book of Genesis.
So did you get that? The generations of Isis, generations of Isis, Genesis, the book of Genesis. Now, according to the ancient tablets, the Bible was created from multiple ancient texts. And in this case, the Emerald Tablets, the book of Genesis was created from that. And it made its way into the Bible.
This is where it comes from. Now they go, okay, let's mate Adam with one of these clones. Didn't work. They're like, damn, this didn't work. They go, okay, We go back to the drawing board. Let's make an Eve. Let's make a female version of Adam. So they do that through birth, through the birth canal, through an actual pregnancy, give birth to Eve. Now they mate Adam with Eve, and then, of course, she gets pregnant and conceives. They go, oh, we got it. So now they begin this process in the Hathor's birthing houses of having these women dedicating their bodies to being surrogate mothers to give birth to all these children. And they raise these children. They put them in the Eden, the Edin, where Satan was the ruler or the king of Eden. Okay, Satan. And in there, they had mating times. They had these people in there, and you couldn't mate out of turn, and you would be punished. You had to mate with who specifically they told you to mate with. Why? Because if you don't, you can screw up the genetic diversity. So they had these mating times. They had people in there who would try to mate out of turn. They would get in trouble. And the fact that there were a lot of people on this planet is also provable in the Bible, because when Cain killed his brother, and Enlil, who's known as Yahweh in the Bible, but he's Enlil in the Sumerian tablets, he comes back and he goes, oh man, what'd you do? You killed him? I'm kicking you out of here. So Cain says, wait a minute, the people out there will kill me. Well, what people? What people are out there? It's supposed to be Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel, and their sister. That's it. No, there wasn't anybody else. But no, he said there's people out there, multiple. Some, they will kill me. These must be violent people. So God says, no, it's okay. I'll put my mark on you, and they won't touch you because they'll know you're my boy. So he puts this mark, but the mark he put is not a mark on his face or a cut, a genetic marker. And he released him. That began the creation of the Canaanites. So yeah, this whole Garden of Eden thing had been misconstrued for hundreds of years, and people preaching dogma that Adam and Eve and original sin, and the apple that she ate was the apple of knowledge. She was given knowledge by Enlil, who's known as Yahweh, his brother Enki. His brother Enki came to the garden and started telling them that they're wise, that they're intelligent, that they're created even higher than them, that they are higher than the Anunnaki themselves, that the secrets to the universe are hidden inside of our bodies. All this can be found in the myth of Adapa. It's an amazing deciphered Sumerian cuneiform tablet that anyone can buy. You can buy it on Amazon and read it for yourself. How it talks about how great and how grand we are, that the wisdom of all knowledge has been encoded into the human body form. And when they learned this information, they realized that they weren't animals, and they began to put on clothes. And then when Enlil comes back, he gets pissed off because he realized they've been enlightened in some way. And then he began to say, he's the devil, he's evil. But it really was Enlil that was the evil one, not Enki.
Goodness me. There is, yeah, I think even just the genetic diversification conversation, it's such a low-hanging thread that we don't usually just pull on. Yeah, just yeah, it's interesting. Human, like we just don't question our stories, and yet they govern so much of our lives. Do you think we're entering? Because I heard you, very dear friend of mine, Alex Ferrari, Next Level Soul. You were talking about us entering a golden age, but ultimately the challenge being sustaining a golden age. I think that was very, very interesting. I'd love to just get your thoughts on that once again here, because I think that was, in your mind. Yeah, I'll let you answer the question.
Absolutely. Shout out to Alex Ferrari, great human being. Great human being, man. Love him. So basically I was talking about the fact that we're living in this cycle, the cycle of the yugas, right? Where you go through this rise and fall of civilizations. They call it the Great Year. That's a more modern name for it, the Great Year. And through this process of going through this dark age, right? And this Stone Age, and coming around to the Bronze Age, and then moving into like a Silver Age and heading back to a Golden Age. Right now, I feel like we're in something called the Tetra Yuga, which is the very, very beginning of a Silver Age. We're in the very, very beginning of that. And mankind is moving in the right direction up this circle back towards a Golden Age. Now, we're still quite a ways away from being in a Golden Age, but at least we're on the right side of the cycle. Now, every time I read these ancient texts, these scriptures, papyruses, cylinder scrolls, verbal handed down histories, and study this information, I see these cycles. They exist. Everyone knows about these cycles of rise and fall of civilization. Thoth talks about it in the Emerald Tablets. But nowhere has it been written that mankind has to go through this cycle, that we have to fall, that any civilization on any planet has to ever fall. And since it's not written that it has to fall, it's not a universal law that has to happen. In my opinion, could there be a program going on, an experiment, a grand experiment? How many known civilizations throughout this universe will eventually break this cycle and reach a golden age and actually sustain it? And I believe that's the ultimate goal for humanity and mankind on this planet, is to finally stop going through this cycle they call the Great Year and actually get to a golden age and actually sustain a golden age, sustain the wisdom, sustain the knowledge, and keep it and stay in the age, versus cycling back, crashing, and doing it all over again in this big loop. It's like a reincarnation. It's like a fractal of our reincarnation cycle. Can we stop it? Thoth claimed to have broken out of the reincarnation cycle. So if he can do that, and that's a fractal of the whole, as above, so below, well, that means to me then we can stop this cycle, this fractal of this rise and fall of civilizations, and achieve a golden age and actually sustain it. I think that's the ultimate goal in this grand universal experiment, is how to actually get there and keep it. And the grand experiment could be, as I said, how many civilizations throughout the known universe will destroy themselves before they get a chance to, how many will get stuck in the cycle eternally, and how many will break the cycle and sustain it.
It's almost like an escape velocity that we're trying to achieve through awakening our consciousness, so that we can actually sustain. Well, almost, yeah, like a golden age sounds somewhat paradisical. Sounds pretty amazing.
There's a reason why I believe this might be the cycle that we can sustain it versus other cycles. Other cycles have been around on this planet when the planet wasn't as stable in terms of geology, in terms of comets and asteroids, right? So we're in a position now where we can actually, geologically, we're not in a bad position. We've overcome we're in a window of opportunity where we've overcome a lot of these things that can destroy us. We've also been able to begin to develop technologies that can shift the orbits of asteroids and comets, something we potentially have not been able to do before. This mission was launched, I think, 10 years ago to land on an asteroid or a comet and move it, shift it by using thrusters to shift the orbit to see if you could change the orbit so that something can miss the Earth. And now, within the next few years, we'll perfect that technology, right? The next 10 years, maybe 20 max. So all of a sudden, I'm thinking we're getting to a point now where we can stop objects from striking the planet, right? We can evade things. We potentially can even learn how to build force fields and all these incredible technologies that we're able to develop now in this age, and still maintain the conscious ascending. And I think that we can get to a point by the time we get, towards this golden age, that we could be in a position where no geological, no disaster from space, and of course, no, negative frequency can come and destroy us.
Billy, there's so much that you're putting out into the world. There's obviously your books, the Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. There's so much available there. There's Forbidden Knowledge TV. My goodness, there is so much going on in there. There's plenty of work of yours on Gaia as well. You've got your social media channels where you're sharing yourself so abundantly with the world. You've got your podcast and interviews. There's work. There's so much for someone that wants to scratch. This is just a scratch of the surface. For those that want to go deeper, what would be your recommendation? Where could they start?
My biggest recommendation literally is to go to 4bk.tv, the number 4bk.tv, or go to your app store and get the Forbidden Knowledge, the number 4, Forbidden Knowledge TV app, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, iOS App Store, Google Play, Samsung or LG TV, and start watching over 3,800 pieces of content on there that are designed to enlighten, to educate, to uplift, everything from mental health, psychiatry, psychotherapy, health, wellness, and of course, ancient civilizations, technology, and even sciences, all on Forbidden Knowledge TV.
Brother, it has been such a pleasure to have you here today. I can't even begin, and I use the word brother affectionately because it's just so there's just so much that you've done for conscious media to be spread around the world. And yeah, I know it's not easy. I've followed your story, and I know that, even just, where we started today's conversation, having had experiences that, other people would find difficult to believe, but then, it is your truth. And then at the same time, you've got family members that have also struggled against, yourself. And it'd be so easy just to sort of suppress parts of our life, I would say. It takes a certain type of character and aptitude to sort of go, you know what, my truth is my truth is my truth is my truth, and to step in and lean in all the way. And for me, you embody that leaning in to the nth degree. So I want to thank you for your time and energy here today. Of course, thank you so much for sharing yourself so abundantly and humoring me and entertaining me with all my questions. Hopefully everyone got a ton of value out of that. But also, man, like, thank you for you, just really grateful that, you're out there doing your thing in the world, and it means a lot to a lot of us. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. It's an honor. And I'm looking forward to coming back and sharing more information.
All right. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to watch this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and give me your thoughts. And like I said earlier, I'm going to leave a link to the original video in the description so you can check out the whole video, because he talks about a whole bunch of different things. So take care and see you on the next video.